and getting out of that sort of feeling of, having a block. And at times I think it's helpful to be inspired by others. And maybe there's somebody out there that will get something from what I've been going through, and it'll help you and give you ideas. And I remember a conversation I had with my bass player friend, Steve Zirkle, probably 15, 20 years ago, when I started filming all our shows and recording them and wanting to talk about how we did our arrangements and what the behind the scenes was like. And he was very against that, because he said, I don't want to tell people what the magic is that we do, because then that'll create more competition. I want the audience to think what we do is magic and mysterious. I don't want to give it away. But now we see a lot of artists that are just willing to share. And I think it's great to just, in my opinion, to share this, to share the process, and so that everybody can cross-pollinate and help each other and not think that we're special. So I was watching a video this morning of this song, and this might get my video demonetized, but see if you recognize this melody. I'm going to play it. Rick Beato was taking apart this beautiful piece by the Beatles and was talking about how George Martin had to have had an influence on this. And I have to say that's probably true. There's a little section in the middle where there's a harpsichord solo, and it sounds like a Bach prelude. And so one of the things that I love about this melody, and Rick Beato was talking about this too, is the idea of modal mixture. The idea of getting some of these really sexy, really sensual notes, sort of like this right here. So normally in a major scale, those are all the notes. Then you have stuff like this. Now, you've probably heard this in the Beatles and Elvis and rock and roll tunes when you have a cadence like this. Okay, so that chord right there is what we call a modal mixture chord. It's borrowing some notes from a parallel key. Now I know, like, you don't know anything about theory. I'm going to do the best I can, but so that scale, the notes that melody to that Beatles song come from this note. Now, if we keep the home note, which is this note, and we play a different set of notes like this, that's the A minor. So we've got some different notes in there that we can choose from, but we still have this homecoming to this note. So it got me thinking that, and so the Beatles did just a great job, even on the bridge, of borrowing some of these other notes, and it gives it this kind of mysterious feeling. The melody is so beautiful and so sensuous in a way to the ears. So it's not just all like, we've got these kind of things. There's a G. So what I did was, I was listening to Brad Mehldau a few minutes ago with Chris Thiele, and they were playing a really interesting chord progression that didn't sound anything like Bach. And so I got inspired, and I thought, well, let me try to create something like that. And so I ended up combining sort of the groove of that, which almost sounds a little bit like Nirvana. Like the chords sound kind of like Nirvana that they were doing. And I combined some modal mixture, and I combined some theoretical knowledge from classical music to come up with something that's kind of cool. I don't have a melody to it yet, but let me, if I can play that. Here's the Chris Thiele piece. I don't know if you can hear it. Here we go. Check this out. Okay. Here's the Chris Thiele piece. And I wish it was a way for me to share it. It's really the groove that's getting me. And you notice how it shifted keys there? Check it out. And what I really like about it is it's got these moving notes. Stuff like this. Almost sounds like Gershwin to me. So it doesn't follow any kind of normal thing your ear might hear with like a Beatles tune, but it almost sounds a little bit like Nirvana. I wonder if it is a Nirvana tune. Let's check it out. The Old Shade Tree live. Okay. So look it up. Chris Thiele, Brad Mehldau. So I'm using this kind of groove. It's got a really funky groove to it. As it's sort of a jumping off place to make something else that has that kind of grit to it, you know? So I came up with this. Let's see. And then that's as far as I got, but it has kind of the basic idea. So you got the suspension there. And then I'm gonna talk a little bit about theoretically what I did here. So a lot of pop music kind of moves in these what we call root position chords. You hear things like this, right? And I love using inversions, even if we're playing a jazz piece. So this second chord right here is a chord what we call in first inversion. So normally it would sound like that, right? Okay, but if you play it in first inversion, it has this kind of feel to it. Now to make things even better, I add what we call the second degree. So it's a B flat 2 over D. Is that kind of interesting? So if I played it normally, it would sound like that, right? But there's something about the relationship between those notes. I don't know if you can hear this on there. I'm not actually seeing any of the comments, but I'm trying to stay in this little inspired moment here. Now, so here's what I did that combined these two things. I think this morning, the Beatles tune, analyzed by Rick Beato, and then the Chris Thiele, Brad Mehldau thing. So what I did was, we're in C, and then this is a B flat, which is taking, the B flat is not really in C major, it's taken from the parallel minor, so that note right there. So that's that modal mixture, the same thing that the Beatles do, that give it that just mysterious feeling, that sound, right? And then I went back to C, but then I thought, okay, wait a minute, that B flat, now a lot of you are going to lose me here, but that B flat is in second inversion, which could be what we call a Neapolitan sixth. And in classical music, for those of you that don't know any theory, you're going to hear this. Sorry for that light back there. I'm going kind of crazy here. Okay, so check this out. So anyway, we got C. So this B flat, if I were to play it in a classical sound, it would sound like this. This is called a Neapolitan sixth chord. So if I play it correctly, there it is. And then it's that kind of cadence, right? So we start off in C, and then I'm playing. Now we're in A minor. So then I thought, okay, I don't want it to be that predictable. So what if I go? Then I'm going to do that. It's a little different sound and voice. And then I'll do the A minor here. And then I'll do the E. This is the 5 chord, but over the F. And if I look at that E over the F, it's kind of like, it's one note away from the minor 4 of C, which is what I started at. There's C. So that's the minor 4 of C, right? But there's a little variation on it. So I can go back to the C. Okay? Now, what's going on here on another level is we've got what we call an ostinato, which is a repetitive bass line. That's what they were doing in that video, the Chris Thiele video. And it's like a bass line that just kind of loops around and they jam over that and make a melody. So that's kind of what I'm doing here. I'm creating an ostinato. So the bass is... Now I have to decide where do I want to go from that. Now if I went here, that's kind of nice. That's another modal mixture. It's like an A flat. It's like an F minor over A flat. And then I could go back to. I'm wanting to end up at the C. So the whole bass line is this scale, and it's doing this, which is the. I know this is so much theory. It's a mode of the F harmonic minor scale. That's what the bass line is going through. Boy, some of you are still watching, even with all this theory. So the bass line is going like this. You could sing it. Na, na. Now, what to do on this next part is what I'm figuring. So then what I think is, like, I'm eventually going to try to end up back where I started, which is on the C. So how do I get from those notes harmonically? What do I want to do in the right hand? So I just try things out, right? So we were here. I do like that. I could do that. That's kind of cool. What was I doing? That's the A minor. And then I could go, I'm going to go to C. So now a lot of times, you know, I have an idea. If it doesn't work, then I try something else. So I'll do that. I just tried a different thing. So here's the progression. I'm going to go back to my reference here. There you go. My reference. Listening to, you know, they say that, you heard the phrase, great composers don't borrow, they steal. That's what I'm doing here. Can you kind of hear it? When I'm sort of imitating it? There's the back. Okay. So I'm kind of doing it in my own way. Okay. So. I might change that. I'm not sure that's good. So anyway, you're watching me. That's kind of cool. So that's a C over B flat, which usually would go something like this, but I'm going up. So how can I make that more feel like it's inevitably going to end really there, is the question. So I've got a B flat. What if I did like a minor? I could do that. That's kind of nice. I normally I'd have a piece of paper here and I'd be writing down all these ideas like crazy. So that was another modal mixture thing. So I got the B flat. I was doing like a B flat minor to a C. So anyway, this is just the harmonic thing. The harmonic bedrock of the piece. I haven't, you know, written a melody to it or anything yet. And I'm getting so analytical that at some point I may want to step away and just play. Like I just did there. So let's see. Don't like that. So there's the A flat. If I did like a, that's kind of cool. So what I did there was I had an idea. It was referring back to the Brad Mehldau, which is he's got these lines constantly moving in and out that just have a certain inevitability where they want to go. They just pull you like gravity, right? So I thought, instead of just playing a B flat minor going like that, what if I played more of a suspended thing? So hear that, da, 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 then it really goes there. I'm glad I'm recording this on Facebook, because then I can go back later and just figure out what the heck I was doing. So anyway, let's play it over again. Here we go. And then this is the suspended thing. Maybe not. So mine, I'm feeling like it's maybe moving a little too fast. So I might go over and look at the reference again. common tone. So I'm kind of stealing it. There's that Neapolitan 6. And I could go. Anyway, there's a couple things in there I might change, but that's how we go from sort of feeling really inspired and like, wow, I love this piece. I love this Chris Thiele, Brad Mehldau thing. It kind of just got me somehow, you know, and that's what you want to go from. You want to have, it's sort of like the fusing of the brain, the cerebral side of the brain and the heart and the soul. When that all comes together, the alchemy of that is where it could be really fun, and you don't have any attachment to it, judging it, and you're just enjoying the sounds. You're making sounds that you enjoy, that feel good. Like, that feels good to me. My ear goes, oh yeah. Now see, I just played something different there, which I liked even a little better. This. It's like it almost needs one more to go. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's see. That would be 8 chords. That's a lot. All right, put your comments below. Great having you here. I haven't looked at any comments. Let's see. Let me just take a break here. This is what's fun about doing it live, because then I can just kind of be in the moment. Wow, we got a few people that shared it. And then go back and see what do we got here? We got, anybody want to say anything? James says, hi, Will. Have you considered doing something like this with? Yes, I have. But I tell you what, everybody, it's such a different time that we live in, not even referring to this current crisis, but it's so different than 30 years ago when I was doing things like this on my own, and I could just call up Eli and we would do it, and we'd play together, and Chris Searles and Steve Zirkle, and they're all busy with their kids and their lives, and I'm waiting for them to finish raising their kids so that I can call them up. I don't know, that might just be an assumption on my part. Phil Davidson says, I can get behind anything Chris Thiele plays, writes about 75% of what he sings. Yes, I am truly live right now. So look at me. Let me look at, I wish I could share my screen and show you the Chris Thiele video. Okay, let's look at the strings attached live comments. Sometimes I find it's helpful just to play in the background, like doodle around, and don't like let my hands do their own thing while I talk and have a conversation with somebody. And sometimes I'll go, what the heck was that? It's like the hands have a mind of their own. You see. And sort of back to that idea of getting out of the way of yourself. I am truly live right now. Excuse me. Getting out of the way of yourself. So no comments there. I guess I am going to say over and out. Inspiration session done. Anybody have any ideas? Still 3 people watching. Okay. It was fun. I just had a super inspirational moment watching that Chris Thiele and Brad Mehldau, the old shade tree. I'll put that in the comments so you can see that video. I am going to say over and out. Okay. Ignore that. Where did I go? Unless anybody has anything else to say. Anybody want to contribute to this piece and become my co-writer? Let's check out the beginning. Oh, I love that. I love the sparseness of the beginning. Yeah, so they're doing something very different than what I was doing, but still, there's some of it a relationship between the modal mixture stuff going on. Hear that? So that idea, the other idea of doing this is sort of like if we're in C, you've got all these notes available. That's too simple. But still kind of keep it in the scope of those two parallel keys. So I'm kind of adding a little bit to my thing here. Those are all notes that are in the parallel minor. Da, 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 maybe not that. And I could go back to that thing again. No. Sometimes your ear just goes no. And then, so there's another little bit of development of the idea. So I took what Brad was doing, this kind of thing, and then kind of keep going. Just kind of improvising around with it. Thanks for watching, guys. Who's here? Still, anybody? There's two of you still here. All right. This was fun. I'm going to go. What am I going to do? Nobody's here. I have a completely blank palette of time. So what should I do next? Who knows? Now, how do I get out of here? Finish. Thank you, everybody. See you on Tuesdays at 7:30, Wednesday, 1 o'clock for our live show. And let us know if you would like more of these kinds of things. And in the future, I would have like sheet music along the bottom so you could see what I'm talking about. But apparently there's a really huge audience worldwide for people that want to explore music this way, theoretically and emotionally and inspirationally, and sort of the crossroads between, you know, technique and the brain and just pulling things out of the air, essentially.